Imagine standing before the Golden Throne, tasked with choosing the ultimate Space Marine Legion to defend humanity. Which would you pick? The unbreakable Imperial Fists, the strategic genius of the Ultramarines, or perhaps the terrifying Night Lords? In this video, we'll arm you with the knowledge to make that impossible choice. We'll break down the strengths, weaknesses, and hidden secrets of all 20 Space Marine Legions. By the end, you'll understand not just their tactics and equipment, but the very essence of what makes each Legion unique in the vast tapestry of Warhammer 40k. The Dark Angels, first among the Space Marine Legions, harbor a secret so devastating it could tear the very fabric of the Imperium apart. Created directly by the Emperor himself, they were meant to be the pinnacle of his transhuman warriors. But beneath their stoic exterior lies a truth that haunts every battle brother to his core. During the Great Crusade, the Dark Angels were renowned for their unwavering loyalty and martial prowess. Led by their Primarch Lionel Johnson, they brought countless worlds into compliance with ruthless efficiency. But as the Horus Heresy erupted, a hidden schism threatened to destroy the Legion from within. While the Lion fought alongside his loyal brothers against the traitor forces, a portion of his Legion turned to chaos. These traitors, known as the Fallen, betrayed everything the Dark Angels stood for. In the aftermath of the heresy, the remaining loyal Dark Angels swore a secret oath to hunt down and capture every last one of the Fallen, no matter the cost. This relentless pursuit has shaped the chapter's structure and culture for 10,000 years. At the heart of the Dark Angels lies the Inner Circle, a secretive organization privy to the truth of their Legion's past. Only the most trusted battle brothers are granted access to this inner sanctum, where the hunt for the Fallen is coordinated with obsessive fervor. The Dark Angels' quest for redemption has led them to extreme measures. They've abandoned critical battles, disobeyed direct orders from the High Lords of Terror, and even clashed with other Space Marine chapters, all in service of their hidden agenda. Their secretive nature has bred suspicion and mistrust among their allies, further isolating the chapter. But what could be so terrible that an entire Legion would risk everything to keep it hidden? The full extent of the Dark Angels' betrayal during the Horus Heresy remains shrouded in mystery. Some whisper that half the Legion turned traitor, while others claim it was merely a small contingent. The truth likely lies somewhere in between, but the Dark Angels guard this knowledge with their lives. The weight of this secret continues to shape the chapter's actions in the 41st Millennium. Every engagement, every campaign, is viewed through the lens of their eternal hunt. The capture of a single fallen angel takes precedence over all other concerns, even if it means leaving Imperial worlds to burn. This obsession with secrecy and redemption has forged the Dark Angels into a chapter unlike any other. They are masters of subterfuge and misdirection, their true motives hidden behind a veil of stoic duty. But beneath their inscrutable facade lies a burning need for absolution, a desire to prove themselves worthy of their status as the First Legion. As the Dark Angels continue their silent war against the Fallen, one question remains: will their quest for redemption ultimately save the Imperium, or doom it? Only time will tell if the sins of the past can truly be washed away in the grim darkness of the far future. But the Dark Angels aren't the only Legion with skeletons in their power armor. Each of the Emperor's creations carries its own burden, its own hidden truths waiting to be uncovered. While the Dark Angels guard their secrets, another Legion flaunts theirs with perverse pride. The Emperor's children once stood as paragons of Imperial virtue, but now serve as a cautionary tale of ambition unchecked. What twisted path led these loyal warriors to become devotees of unspeakable pleasure? The Emperor's children began as the embodiment of perfection, striving to honor their name through flawless service to the Imperium. Their close relationship with the Emperor himself fueled their drive to excel in all aspects of warfare and culture. However, this noble pursuit would ultimately lead to their downfall. Early in their history, the Legion faced near extinction due to a catastrophic loss of gene seed. This devastating blow left them a mere shadow of their former glory, desperately seeking to rebuild their numbers and prove their worth. It was during this vulnerable period that their Primarch, Fulgrim, was discovered. Fulgrim's leadership transformed the Emperor's children. Driven by a compulsive need for efficiency and a desire to prove himself as the Emperor's perfect son, Fulgrim instilled in his legion an obsession with flawlessness. This fixation on perfection, however, came at a cost. The Emperor's children were unable to participate in many notable campaigns of the Great Crusade as they focused on replenishing their ranks. In their eagerness to prove themselves, the Emperor's children volunteered for increasingly challenging missions, pushing themselves beyond even the capabilities of their fellow legions. This constant striving, while admirable, left them vulnerable to outside influences. The pivotal moment in the Legion's fall came during a compliance action on the planet Laren. It was here that Fulgrim discovered the Lair Blade, an artifact that would ultimately corrupt both him and his legion. Unknown to Fulgrim, the sword was tainted by the chaos god Slaanesh, and its influence began to slowly warp the Primarch's mind. As Fulgrim succumbed to the blade's whispers, the corruption spread throughout the Legion. The Emperor's children's pursuit of perfection twisted into a desire for extreme sensations and experiences. Their once noble quest for excellence became a hedonistic journey into excess. The full extent of their transformation was revealed aboard the flagship Pride of the Emperor. What began as a celebration of their achievements devolved into a nightmarish display of debauchery and violence. The Emperor's children, once the pinnacle of Imperial ideals, had fallen into the embrace of chaos. In the aftermath of the Horus Heresy, the Emperor's children fully dedicated themselves to Slaanesh. Their pursuit of perfection mutated into a never-ending quest for new and more intense experiences. The Legion fragmented, with warbands roaming the galaxy in search of sensations to satiate their insatiable appetites. Now, in the 41st millennium, the Emperor's children stand as a twisted mockery of their former selves. Their once resplendent armor is adorned with grotesque trophies and forbidden symbols. They seek out the most extreme sensory experiences, often at the expense of countless innocent lives. The perfection they once sought has been replaced by an eternal hunger for excess. The fall of the Emperor's children serves as a stark reminder of how even the noblest intentions can lead to damnation. Their tale is a warning of the dangers that lie in unchecked ambition and the pursuit of perfection at any cost. While some legions fell to excess, others turned to bitterness, their loyalty corroded by resentment and jealousy. In the grim darkness of the 41st millennium, there are few fates more ironic than that of the Iron Warriors. How did the Imperium's greatest builders become its most relentless destroyers? The answer lies in a perfect storm of resentment, brutal discipline, and a Primarch's wounded pride. The Iron Warriors were once the undisputed masters of siege warfare and fortification. Their expertise in constructing impregnable strongholds was matched only by their skill in bringing them down. During the Great Crusade, they were often tasked with the most grueling and thankless assignments, building and manning fortress worlds on the fringes of the expanding Imperium. As the years wore on, a bitter resentment began to fester within the Legion. While their brother legions fought glorious battles and received accolades, the Iron Warriors toiled in obscurity, their achievements going largely unrecognized. This growing discontent was further exacerbated by the harsh leadership of their Primarch, Perturabo. Perturabo was a complex figure, driven by a need to prove himself equal to his more celebrated brothers. He instituted a regime of brutal efficiency within his legion, most infamously through the practice of decimation. When the Iron Warriors failed to meet his exacting standards, 1 in every 10 warriors would be executed by their own battle brothers. This culture of fear and unforgiving discipline forged the Legion into a coldly effective fighting force, but at a terrible cost to their morale and loyalty. The Iron Warriors' fall from grace was not a sudden plunge, but a slow erosion of their faith in the Imperium they had sacrificed so much to build. Their bitter rivalry with the Imperial Fists, who received praise for the very skills the Iron Warriors had honed in thankless obscurity, only deepened their resentment. Perturabo's jealousy of Rogel Dawn, Primarch of the Imperial Fists, became a festering wound that would never heal. The breaking point came with the Olympia Revolt. Perturabo's homeworld rose up against his rule, and in his rage and hurt he ordered the Iron Warriors to brutally crush the rebellion. As they stood amid the ashes of their own home, many Iron Warriors felt the last of their loyalty to the Imperium crumble away. When Horus extended his hand in rebellion, Perturabo and his sons saw an opportunity for vengeance against an Imperium they believed had used and discarded them. They turned their unparalleled skills in siege warfare against their former allies, using their intimate knowledge of Imperial defenses to devastating effect. In the aftermath of the Horus Heresy, the Iron Warriors retreated to the Eye of Terror. Unlike many of their fellow traitor legions, they did not fully embrace the worship of the Chaos Gods. Instead, they maintained a grim independence, their bitterness and desire for revenge undimmed by the passage of millennia. Today, the Iron Warriors remain a potent threat to the Imperium they once helped build. Their mastery of siege warfare, combined with their cold, calculating approach to battle, makes them formidable opponents. Each fortress they destroy, each world they lay waste to, is another bitter rebuke to the Imperium that spurned them. The tale of the Iron Warriors serves as a stark reminder of how even the mightiest can fall when loyalty is taken for granted. Their transformation from builders to destroyers is a tragedy written in iron and blood, echoing across the war-torn galaxy of the 41st Millennium. Not all legions fell to darkness, however. While some succumbed to bitterness and betrayal, others found unexpected paths to loyalty, their sagas as surprising as they are inspiring. While some legions found glory in grand battles, one group of warriors honed their skills in the margins of history. Known first as the Star Hunters, the 5th Legion's path to greatness was anything but straight. Their metamorphosis into the White Scars would challenge everything the Imperium thought it knew about its own defenders. The Star Hunters were not often found in the grand battles of the Unification Wars or the Great Crusade. Instead, they were held back for use as scouts and hunters, tracking down enemies of the Emperor for other legions to destroy. Their hit-and-run tactics were better suited for smaller-scale fights, and while effective, the other legions thought very little of their brothers from the 5th. This perception began to change with the discovery of their Primarch, Jaghatai Khan. Raised on the harsh world of Chogoris, Jaghatai was initially reluctant to join the Imperium. He valued freedom and independence, traits that would come to define his legion. However, once convinced of the Emperor's vision, Jaghatai threw himself wholeheartedly into reshaping his warriors. Under Jaghatai's leadership, the newly renamed White Scars embraced Chogorian culture. This cultural integration allowed them to develop a sense of pride and identity that they had previously lacked. Jaghatai ordered each Marine to take up a hobby such as calligraphy, painting, storytelling, or needlepoint. This initiative allowed the White Scars to feel less like mindless killing machines and more like complete warriors, significantly boosting their morale and cohesion as a legion. The White Scars developed a unique combat doctrine that set them apart from their brother legions. They perfected the art of lightning warfare, combining their background as scouts and hunters with Jaghatai's Chogorian tactics. Swift attacks, feigned retreats, and devastating countercharges became their hallmarks. This fighting style, so different from the grinding attrition warfare favored by many other legions, earned the White Scars both admiration and suspicion. As the Horus Heresy erupted, the White Scars found themselves in a unique position. Their independence and Jaghatai's wisdom allowed them to see through the lies and manipulations that had led other legions astray. While some of their brothers fell to chaos or bitter betrayal, the White Scars chose to remain loyal to the Emperor. This loyalty was not born of blind obedience, but of careful consideration and a deep understanding of the stakes involved. The White Scars actively hunted down their traitorous former allies, using their mastery of rapid assault and hit-and-run tactics to devastating effect. Their actions during the heresy proved beyond doubt that they were no longer the overlooked scouts of old, but a formidable fighting force in their own right. In the aftermath of the heresy, the White Scars emerged as one of the most reliable and respected legions. Their journey from dismissed outcasts to stalwart defenders of the Imperium serves as a testament to the power of cultural identity and independent thinking in the face of galaxy-spanning conflict. While some legions found their path to glory through loyalty and cultural pride, others embraced a darker calling. The galaxy would soon learn that not all of the Emperor's creations were destined for nobility. While some legions basked in glory, One pack of warriors prowled the shadows of the Emperor's will. The Space Wolves weren't just soldiers, they were judge, jury, and executioner, but at what cost to their own humanity? The Space Wolves, originally known as the Sixth Legion, struck fear into the hearts of friend and foe alike. Even among their transhuman brethren, they were regarded with a mixture of awe and trepidation. This reputation wasn't born solely from their combat prowess, but from the dark purpose for which they were created. The Emperor designed the Space Wolves to be his personal executioners, a role that would forever set them apart from their fellow legions. This grim duty was most infamously demonstrated in the fate of the lost 2nd and 11th Legions. While the details remain shrouded in mystery, it's whispered that the Space Wolves played a crucial role in the purging of these forgotten brothers, a task that left an indelible mark on their psyche. The discovery of their Primarch, Leman Russ, on the death world of Fenris only amplified the Legion's fierce nature. Raised among the feral tribes of this harsh planet, Russ brought with him a culture steeped in warrior traditions and mysticism. Under his leadership, the Space Wolves fully embraced their lupine heritage, adopting the customs and beliefs of Fenris into their martial practices. This cultural shift manifested in the Legion's unique organization. Instead of the typical company structure, the Space Wolves formed themselves into great companies, each led by a wolf lord. These great companies functioned like packs, fostering a fierce loyalty among their members. The inclusion of rune priests in place of traditional librarians further set them apart, blending psychic abilities with the shamanistic traditions of Fenris. Perhaps most striking was the Space Wolves' incorporation of Fenrisian wolves into their ranks. These massive, cybernetically enhanced beasts fought alongside the Astartes, adding another layer of savagery to their already fearsome reputation. The sight of Space Wolves charging into battle flanked by these monstrous creatures became a terrifying hallmark of their combat style. But how does being the Emperor's executioners affect a Legion's relationships and psyche? The weight of their duties isolated the Space Wolves, breeding mistrust even among loyal Imperial forces. Their brutal efficiency in combat, while valued, also made them feared. This isolation only reinforced their pack mentality, causing them to rely even more heavily on their own kind. The psychological toll of their role as executioners manifested in various ways. Some Space Wolves embraced their savage nature fully, reveling in the violence of their duties. Others struggled with the moral implications of their actions, seeking solace in the brotherhood of their great companies. This internal conflict added depth to their already complex culture, creating warriors who were both ferocious in battle and introspective in moments of peace. In the end, the Space Wolves' position as the Emperor's executioners came at a high cost. While it granted them unparalleled authority, it also burdened them with suspicion and mistrust from their fellow legions. Even in the 41st Millennium, 10,000 years after the Horus Heresy, the Space Wolves remained set apart, their loyalty unquestioned but their methods and nature still viewed with a mixture of respect and apprehension. From executioners to guardians, each legion carved out its own niche in the Emperor's grand design. But while some found purpose in dealing death, others dedicated themselves to preserving life against impossible odds. Enter the Imperial Fists, master fortifiers and siege specialists, whose very name evokes an image of unyielding strength. But what drives warriors to build walls as readily as they tear them down? The Imperial Fists stand as paragons of resilience in the grim darkness of the 41st Millennium. Under the leadership of their Primarch, Rogel Dawn, they honed their skills in the art of fortification to unparalleled levels. Their expertise wasn't limited to mere construction. The Imperial Fists excelled in both erecting impregnable defenses and dismantling enemy strongholds with surgical precision. This mastery of siege warfare, however, bred a fierce rivalry with the Iron Warriors Legion. While both excelled in similar domains, the Imperial Fists often received accolades for their daring assaults on enemy fortifications, while the Iron Warriors toiled in relative obscurity on less glamorous assignments. This disparity in recognition sowed the seeds of bitterness that would eventually contribute to the Iron Warriors' fall to chaos. At the heart of the Imperial Fists culture stood Rogel Dawn, a Primarch whose stoic nature and unyielding resolve shaped every aspect of his legion. Dawn's approach to warfare was direct and pragmatic, favoring straightforward solutions to complex problems. This no-nonsense attitude permeated the Legion, fostering a culture of self-reliance and stubborn determination among its ranks. The Imperial Fists' unwavering loyalty and tactical acumen were put to the ultimate test during the Siege of Terra, the climactic battle of the Horus Heresy. As traitor forces descended upon the cradle of humanity, it fell to Dawn and his sons to defend the Emperor's palace. The fortifications they had meticulously constructed now stood as humanity's last line of defense against the tides of chaos. For months, the Imperial Fists held the line against overwhelming odds. Their stubborn resistance in the face of relentless assault became the stuff of legend. Even as other loyalist forces faltered, the Sons of Dawn stood firm, their resolve as unbreakable as the walls they defended. But how does a legion cope with the near destruction of everything they swore to protect? The scars of the Siege of Terra ran deep, leaving an indelible mark on the Imperial Fists' psyche. The knowledge that they had been the Emperor's last line of defense, that their fortifications had been all that stood between humanity and annihilation, weighed heavily upon them. In the aftermath of the heresy, the Imperial Fists threw themselves into the task of rebuilding the shattered Imperium with the same determination they had shown in its defense. Their unwavering loyalty and sacrifice during the Siege of Terra cemented their place as heroes of the Imperium, earning them the grudging respect of even their staunchest rivals. Today, the Imperial Fists and their successor chapters operate as roving armies, crusading from system to system rather than maintaining a fixed headquarters. This nomadic existence serves as a constant reminder of their duty to defend humanity wherever the need arises, their loyalty to the Emperor's vision undiminished by the passage of 10,000 years. But not all legions found glory in defense. While the Imperial Fist stood as bastions of hope, others sought to spread terror throughout the galaxy, their methods as brutal as they were effective. Imagine a force so terrifying that even their allies trembled at their approach. The Night Lords were the Emperor's dark reflection, a necessary evil that spiraled beyond containment. What pushed these harbingers of terror from Imperial attack dogs to the galaxy's most feared predators? The Night Lord's Legion was forged with a singular purpose: to spread fear and terror throughout the galaxy. Unlike their brother legions who sought glory and conquest, the Night Lords specialized in psychological warfare, breaking the will of their enemies before a single shot was fired. Their tactics were as brutal as they were effective, cutting power to entire cities and broadcasting the screams of the dying to cow populations into submission. At the heart of this legion stood Conrad Kurz, a Primarch whose traumatic upbringing on the nightmarish world of Nostramo shaped his dark worldview. Plagued by prophetic visions of a grim future, Kurz believed that fear was the only true tool for control. The Emperor, recognizing the potential of such a force, allowed Kurz to develop his methods of terror, turning a blind eye to the mental instability that festered within his son. As the Great Crusade progressed, the Night Lords' reputation for brutality grew. They would flay their victims alive, leaving their bodies on display as grisly warnings to those who would resist Imperial rule. Entire worlds surrendered at the mere mention of their name, terrified of the horrors that awaited should they refuse compliance. Yet, as effective as these methods were, they pushed the Night Lords further into savagery. The Legion's fall into darkness was a gradual descent, each atrocity justified as a necessary evil to maintain order. Kurz's fatalistic visions only accelerated this process, convincing him and his sons that their actions were preordained. As the Horus Heresy erupted, the Night Lords found themselves adrift, their purpose questioned and their methods condemned by the very Imperium they had served. What finally pushed this legion from necessary evil to outright traitors? It wasn't a single moment, but a culmination of their brutal history and Kurz's own twisted logic. They sided with Horus not out of loyalty to chaos, but as a means to dismantle the Imperium that had created them, then betrayed them. The Night Lords saw their actions as a form of justice, punishing a corrupt system that had allowed them to become monsters in the first place. In the aftermath of the heresy, Kurz's assassination had a profound impact on the Legion. Without their Primarch's guidance, the Night Lords fragmented, becoming a chaotic and disorganized force. They struggled with their identity and purpose, lacking the cohesive leadership that Kersey once provided. In the 41st millennium, they continue to spread terror across the galaxy, each warband a reflection of the darkness that birthed them. The tale of the Night Lord serves as a chilling reminder of the fine line between necessary evil and uncontrolled monstrosity. As we turn our gaze from these masters of fear, we find that each legion carved its own unique path through the stars, some seeking perfection through very different means. In the grim darkness of the 41st millennium, even angels can fall. The Blood Angels, once the epitome of imperial might and beauty, now teeter on the edge of a precipice. What terrible affliction could turn these paragons of virtue into blood-crazed monsters? And how do they fight to maintain their sanity in a universe that knows only war? The Blood Angels stand as one of the most revered Space Marine legions, their reputation built on a foundation of nobility, artistry, and martial prowess. Originally designed as a premier assault force, they gained fame for their ability to emerge victorious from the most perilous campaigns, often replenishing their ranks through unconventional means. Their Primarch, Sanguinius, embodied the very essence of what a Space Marine should be, a perfect blend of strength, beauty, and compassion. Yet beneath this veneer of perfection lies a curse that threatens to consume the entire legion. The Red Thirst, a condition that drives Blood Angels to crave the flesh and blood of their enemies, has plagued the legion since its inception. This affliction pushes them to the fringes of Imperial society, their ritualistic consumption of fallen foes earning them a reputation as feral murderers rather than noble warriors. Sanguinius, the winged Primarch of the Blood Angels, struggled with this flaw in his Gene Sons. Upon reuniting with his legion, he chose not to demand their allegiance, but instead swore an oath to them, vowing that they would rise or fall together. This bond between Primarch and legion would be tested time and again as Sanguinius fought to control the Red Thirst within his warriors. During the tumultuous days of the Horus Heresy, the Blood Angels proved their loyalty to the Emperor, standing firm against the tides of traitorous forces. The climax of their tale came aboard Horus's flagship, where Sanguinius faced the Warmaster in single combat. Though Sanguinius fell to Horus's blade, his sacrifice bought crucial time for the Emperor to confront and defeat the arch-traitor. The death of their Primarch left an indelible mark on the Blood Angels. In the wake of this tragedy, a new affliction emerged: the Black Rage. This psychic echo of Sanguinius's final moments threatens to overwhelm Blood Angels, plunging them into a berserker state where they relive their Primarch's last battle. Those afflicted by the Black Rage are placed in the Death Company, doomed squads that seek a glorious end in combat. In the 41st millennium, the Blood Angels continue their struggle against these twin curses. Their leadership grapples with the challenge of maintaining their noble traditions and artistic pursuits while managing the effects of the Red Thirst and Black Rage. The chapter's unique organization reflects this ongoing battle, with special provisions made for those who succumb to their genetic flaws. The tale of the Blood Angels serves as a poignant reminder that even the most angelic can harbor darkness within, as they fight to preserve their sanity and honor in a galaxy torn apart by endless war. The Sons of Sanguinius stand as a testament to the enduring strength of the human spirit in the face of overwhelming adversity. While some legions battle inner demons, others sought to purge all weakness, believing that only through absolute purity could humanity survive the horrors that lurked in the void. As we've explored the sagas of the Space Marine legions, one thing becomes clear: these transhuman warriors continue to shape the fate of the Imperium in profound ways. From the secretive Dark Angels to the cursed Blood Angels, each legion carries the weight of its history into the battles of the 41st millennium. Despite their superhuman abilities, the Space Marines remain vulnerable to very human flaws. Loyalty, pride, ambition, and fear drive their actions, often with far-reaching consequences. The fall of the Emperor's children and the bitter betrayal of the Iron Warriors serve as stark reminders that even the mightiest can stumble. Yet hope endures. The unwavering resolve of the Imperial Fists and the cultural pride of the White Scars show that redemption and growth are possible, even in the darkest times. As new threats emerge and ancient enemies return, the Space Marines stand ready to write the next chapter in their long and storied history. In the grim darkness of the far future, their actions may well determine the fate of all mankind.